Good day and welcome to another episode of What's Happening Today, presented to you by Rapido News Network. In our first story, we will discuss the job cuts that Tesla might do in coming weeks as Mr. Musk feels super bad about the economy. Next, we will talk about the GOP Senate Primaries in which David McCormick concedes to former President Mr. Trump's pick, Dr. Oz, in Pennsylvania following the recount. Post that, we will discuss the further development into the events that happened on January 6th at the US Congress. And in our final story, we will talk about the Russian Ukrainian conflict. So let's get started. In our first story, we will discuss the message that Tesla CEO Elon Musk had for his employees when he said that he had super bad feeling about the economy and needs to cut about 10% of salaried staff at the electric car maker company Tesla, according to the email seen by Reuters. A message sent to executives on Thursday laid out his concern and told them to pause all hiring worldwide. The dire outlook came 2 days after the billionaire told staff to return to the workplace or leave, and added to a growing chorus of warning from business leaders around the world about the risk of recession. Tesla share fell 9% on US trade on Friday after this Reuters report. The tech-heavy Nasdaq was down about 2%. In another email to employees on Friday, Mr. Musk said that the Tesla will be reducing salaried headcount by 10% as it has become overstaffed in many areas. But hourly headcounts will increase. He further added that this does not apply to anyone actually building cars, battery pack, or installing solar panels, Musk wrote in the email seen by Reuters. Almost 100,000 people were employed at Tesla and its subsidiary at the end of 2021, according to its annual SEC filing. It did not, however, break down number of salaried and hourly workers. Now, in our next story on David McCormick, a former hedge fund executive, conceding to the exceedingly close race for the Republican nomination for Senate in Pennsylvania on Friday to Dr. Mehmet Oz, the celebrity television physician with a statewide recount underway and no official race call. Dr. Oz has a lead of fewer than 1,000 votes, or 0.07%, before the county-by-county recount began last week. The unexpected early concession, 5 days before the recount's full results were to be released, was a recognition that Mr. McCormick had gained only a handful of votes so far and faced an insurmountable hurdle in making up this deficit. His decision sets up one of the most pivotal contests of the midterms, a November election between Dr. Oz and the Democratic nominee, the incumbent Lieutenant Governor of the state, John Fetterman. We spent the last 17 days making sure that every Republican vote was counted, Mr. McCormick said in an appearance in Harrisburg with supporters on Friday evening. But it's now clear to me that with the recount largely complete, that we have a nominee. And today I call Dr. Mehmet Oz to congratulate him on his victory. Now, in our next story, the day before people stormed the Capitol on January 6, 2021, Vice President Mike Pence's Chief of Staff called Mr. Pence's lead Secret Service agent to his West Wing office. The Chief of Staff, Mark Short, had a message for the agent, Tim Giebels. The president was going to turn publicly against the Vice President, and there could be a security risk to Mr. Pence because of it. The stark warning was the only time Mr. Short flagged a security concern during his tenure as Mr. Pence's top aide, and was uncovered recently during a research by a reporter for an upcoming book titled Confidence Man, The Making of Donald Trump and the Breaking of America, which is to be released in October. Mr. Short did not know what form such a security risk might take, according to people familiar with the events. But after days of intensifying pressure from Mr. Trump on Mr. Pence to take the extraordinary step of intervening in the certification of the Electoral College count to forestall Mr. Trump's defeat, Mr. Short seemed to have good reason for this concern. The Vice President's refusal to go along was exploding into an open and bitter breach between the two men at the time when the President was stoking the fury of his supporters who were streaming into Washington. A federal grand jury on Friday indicted Peter Navarro, a White House advisor to former President Donald Trump, for failing to comply with subpoena from the House committee investigating into the Capitol attack. Even as the Justice Department declined to charge Mark Meadows and Dan Scavino Jr., the other two top officials who have refused to cooperate. The indictment against Mr. Navarro, handed up in federal district court in Washington, marked the first time that an official who served in Mr. Trump's White House during the events of January 6, 2021 has been charged in connection with the investigation into the attack. Now in our final story on the Russian Ukrainian conflict, Russian President Vladimir Putin is digging for a long war of attrition over Ukraine and will be relentless in trying to use economic weapons such as a blockade of Ukrainian grain exports to whittle away Western supports for Kyiv, according to member of Russia's economic elite. The Kremlin has seized on recent signs of hesitancy by some European governments as an indication that the West could lose focus in seeking to counter Russia's invasion of Ukraine, especially as global energy costs surge following the imposition of sanctions on Moscow. Putin believes that the West will become exhausted, said one well-connected Russian billionaire speaking on the condition of anonymity because of the fear of retribution. Putin had not expected the West's initial strong and united response, but now he's trying to reshape the situation and he believes that in the longer term he will win, the billionaire said. Western leaders are vulnerable to election cycles, and he believes that the public opinion can flip in one day. The embargo on Russia's seaborne oil exports, announced by the European Union this week and hailed by Charles Michel, the president of the European Council, as putting maximum pressure on Russia to end this war, would have little influence over the short term, said one Russian official close to Moscow's diplomatic circle, also speaking on the condition of anonymity for the fear of retribution. The Kremlin mood is that we can't lose, no matter what the price, he further added. Now that was all for the major news update for June 4th. Stay tuned for our next update on the ongoing world affairs. We hope that you find this video useful. If you like this video, hit like. And for a continued update on what's happening around the world, consider subscribing. To never miss an update whenever we post something new, hit that bell icon. If you have any comments or any suggestions for us, please let us know in the comment sections below. Thank you.